Good morning. Are you Melissa Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have on your...
Oh, this is my son, Brandon Taylor.
Why'd you wear that this morning?
Because he's my entire world and he's messing me there.
Okay. Ms. Taylor, this is your initial... No, you were forward. Did you get someone hired?
Ma'am?
Did you get someone hired?
No, I have contacted 4 different attorneys. I have the printout paperwork of all the information. They're extremely expensive. I'm not going to get the funds gathered for that.
Who'd you talk to?
I spoke to down
Where?
a month ago.
Where'd you...
Right in my phone.
Okay. Did you talk to some more since that last court date?
The last hearings. You asked, you instructed me to get 3 quotes. That was what I did. I can get that turned into you after,
Okay. If I test you this morning, you can have anything in your system? Have a seat in the jury box. We're going to text. Ms. Taylor, you tested positive for amphetamines, methamphetamines, and ecstasy. And so at this time, I'm going to find that that is a violation, obviously, of your bond conditions, and I'm going to raise your case to $100,000. Well, let me look at it real quick. I'm going to, let's see. In one of your cases, you're charged with assault on a peace officer, the other credit or debit card abuse. In each of those cases, I'm raising your bond to $100,000 in each case.
Okay.
If you make the bonds in those cases, you are ordered to wear a drug patch at all times, get it tested at the appropriate times, and then we will move forward with your case.
can I ask a question, please? Am I about to be arrested?
Yes, you're going into custody right now.
Okay, I have a child.
You shouldn't be using ecstasy and methamphetamine if you have back with the bailiff.
So
Go back with the bailiff right now. Go back with the bailiff. Clean and tested negative, which is obviously good, and
No 5-hour energies.
yeah, you never know about those energies.
Stay away from
Ms. Clayton, in cause number 25, DCCR 0446, you were previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to evading arrest or detention with the use of a vehicle. I have received the pre-sentence report. Has everyone had an opportunity to review that report?
defense action. Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections?
Not from defense. Not from the state, Your Honor.
What is everyone's position with regard to the recommendation in the pre-sentence report with regard to her addiction issues? The recommendation is ISF followed by JCDI program.
Again, for the defense, Your Honor, the treatment is a continuum, I suppose, and since she's demonstrated, at least today, that she's drug-free, then I would suggest the court only ISF in advance to just see how she progresses on probation. Maybe perhaps with a drop program.
Well, she's going to go through JCDI for sure. If at a minimum. Mr. Nichols, thoughts since
I
she
would ask
tested
at least
negative?
for JCDI, Your Honor. She's still underage, but she has a drinking problem and needs to get that dealt with, treated, or under control. And she also smokes marijuana regularly. The facts on this case, she and her friend were heavily intoxicated, fled from police, lucky it wasn't a crash.
It could have been terrible.
Tried to hide out from police.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It could have been a lot worse. And I'll just tell the court from reviewing the video, at least that night, they sure thought it was hilarious. She needs to grow up. She needs to take a little more serious once getting her here in felony court.
Yeah.
And
You understand it's not funny. I mean, no, I understand that right now, and people do that.
But that night, yeah, I do regret everything that night.
So here's the thing, and the seriousness of this is that if you don't do what you're supposed to and get your life on the right track, which is what everyone wants. You're young, we want you to be successful. You're going to get a probation today where you don't have a felony conviction on your record, and if you complete that probation, you're never going to be a convicted felon. But if you violate and you don't take advantage of the programs that we're going to give you, it's going to be difficult because you're at an age where all your friends are going to be doing things that you're not going to be able to do. But the alternative is prison for up to 10 years. So you need to think about that every time somebody says, oh, just come on out with us and do whatever, and your answer is going to be, I'll do that in a few years when I'm not on probation, right? Because I don't want to go to prison for 10 years. So I am going to follow the agreement that you made with the district attorney and defer all proceedings and place you on probation for 3 years. You're ordered to pay the $250 fine. I am going to order that you enter and successfully complete the ISF substance abuse track, but I'm going to hold that in abeyance. That is an inpatient 90-day program. So if you get in, you're going to be required to go to JCDI and complete that program. And it'll give you the tools, hopefully, that you need to stay sober. If that's not enough and you need something more, it's already ordered. A warrant will go out for your arrest. You'll go into custody and you'll go straight to that program, okay? I'm handing you the trial court certification because this was an agreement that I followed. So you have waived your right to appeal. You just need to have a seat here in the courtroom. Probation will call you up when she's ready to go over your paperwork. If you'd like to. Good morning, sir. You're Denzel Lewis. And Mr. Lewis, you were previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to the third-degree felony offense of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. The agreement was for a cap of 6 years in prison. I've received the pre-sentence report. Has everyone had an opportunity to review that report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections?
Just argument from the defense.
Nothing, Judge.
In addition, I have received the jail incident reports, which have been turned over to counsel. Have you both had an opportunity to review those?
I have.
Also, I have received this morning and now reviewed, it looks like 4 letters of support that Ms. Holmes brought today. Mr. Smith, have you had an opportunity to review those as well? All right, then Ms. Holmes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In looking at the PSI report, Mr. Lewis does have obviously previous criminal history spanning from juvenile and to adulthood. The priors that he has, it appears with burglary of a habitation. It looks like 3 cases, but they ran concurrently, in which he was placed on probation and had a revocation in which he was sentenced to 8 years in TDC. He has since been discharged from that, Your Honor, and after being released, there was this traffic stop which resulted in a firearm being found in the vehicle in which Mr. Lewis was driving. Obviously, in reading his response to the PSI officer, I would allow him to elaborate more on that. Obviously, he did plead guilty to the offense, taking responsibility, and we are seeking probation in this case, Your Honor. We believe that at this point in Mr. Lewis's life, he understands, obviously, being incarcerated before, that it's not somewhere that he wants to go back and spend potentially 6 additional years of his life. He would like this opportunity on probation to have that opportunity to spend and get back on track with employment, to take care of his family and provide for his family. And reading those support letters, Your Honor, he does have support here from family and friends in the community that are willing to step up and help him to make sure that he is a productive citizen and he gets back on track. He understands that there's just certain things with being a convicted felon that he cannot do. And I think at this point he understands that, Your Honor, and we are asking that the court give him the opportunity to be placed on probation and to finish his term while on probation.
Well, I guess before we go any further, I want to make sure I understand, because Mr. Lewis, your version of this is that it wasn't your gun, it was in your girlfriend's purse, and you didn't even know her purse was in the car, much less the gun was in the purse in the car. So either you are guilty or you're not guilty of the offense. And so if you knew about it, then you're guilty. If you didn't, then a jury needs to decide.
I'm pleading guilty because I was driving the car, and by me driving and then finding the gun,
But the law, that's not what the law is. Okay? So you don't get to just take a deal or plead guilty because that's what you want to do. When you're before, you stood in front of that clerk, you put your hand up, swore that you were going to tell the truth, and I said, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily, or are you pleading guilty because you did what they charged you with?
And I was, and I still am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Smith?
Judge, I think He's been given probation before. It was not successful. He's been revoked. The actions in the jail clearly show he doesn't have any respect for authority or rules. I don't feel like he's a proper candidate for probation, so we're asking for a 6-year sentence in TDC.
So, Mr. Lewis, one thing I noticed in several of these letters that friends and family members said, I think 3 of them actually used the word respectful, that you're a respectful young man. What has been going on in our jail is the furthest thing from respectful that I've seen. The number of times, and the fact that I have to say this out loud, the number of times that you choose to masturbate in front of the officers on purpose is ridiculous.
Can I speak on the,
Sure.
the case wasn't on me. Somebody else had a case, and the woman even talked to the lieutenant to get it removed up off of my file, but it still shows up. That was not on me. It's somebody.
It's more than one time.
But
So hold on. So on April 14th, let's just go through them. On April 14th, you were in trouble for not being in your bunk, that you had been given several orders to go to your bunk. You proceeded to walk around yelling, "Bitch, stop talking to me." So that's from April 14th, last week. Then on April 7th, it alleges that you had your hands in your pants, moving in and back and forth, that you were told to take your hands out of your pants, and that you had been told before, or this officer had been briefed on the fact that you were known for doing this. Your response, according to this, is that that person should have asked the officers how big your penis, anyway. Since they want to be talking about you, they should have told them about that too. Then, on March 25th, before that, a week, so another officer, and these aren't the same officers, it's not the same person saying the same thing about you, somebody has some vendetta against you. So on March 25th, started to do rounds. Noticed that you were watching the person doing rounds. Had his hand over his midsection as if he was rubbing on himself. March 18th, another different officer. Notice monitoring the bunk. There you are, laying on your back, stroking your penis in a back and forth motion, told not to do so. January 24th, 2025, you're in trouble for walking around. This one, notice the way you're laying on your bunk in a way, making motions under the blanket, walked past, turned around to see if you were still doing it. Then you supposedly look at this officer and say, "I'm not doing anything," while you lifted the blanket up for that officer to see it. January 4th, another time, being told to be quiet, do what you're supposed to do, didn't do it that day. December 29th, another issue of not following the rules. December 17th, another infraction for arguing and not following the rules. So if there was one time when they got the wrong person, that's one thing. That's over and over again, you disrespecting female officers who are in there just doing their job.
sleep on my back.
Sir, we're really gonna do that?
You asked me and I'm telling you, John, I sleep on my back.
Uh-huh.
I have sisters, I have a mama, I don't do that. Them people write whatever they.
They're making this up on you? That's terrible of them to do that.
If you look at my cases report, ma'am, I don't have any cases on none of that. I don't have any time, I'm not on no restriction on none of that.
Okay.
Up in the county.
You were off parole, the way I do the math, less than a
I was off
year.
parole.
So you did your whole 8 years?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd you do in prison to have to do your whole 8 years?
I was in SIG,
For doing what?
just tattooing, contraband.
Not following the rules while you're in prison. I'm going to find that you previously entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. Sentence you to a term of 6 years in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement that I followed, and so you've waived your right to appeal, and you're lucky that this was the agreement. Mr. Smith was generous. The fact is, you could have been enhanced to a second-degree felony because of your history, and you're lucky you weren't. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Obviously, you know this, but I'm required to read this to you. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read the written admonishment I provide you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long it lasts, you can talk to Ms. Holmes. You can go with the bailiff.